Hey, Max here. So I've gotten a lot of questions around my settings between skill-based passing, between coaching adjustments, between just general settings. So this video is going to be that in that order. First off, skill-based passing before we go to coaching adjustments. Go placement and accuracy. Now, a lot of people will say, oh, just use placement because you're worried about accuracy. I talked to the lead dev who did this and who implemented this thing in Madden. Accuracy will not penalize you at all whatsoever if you're not quote-unquote accurate in the meter. It will only give you a bonus. So put placement and accuracy on. Don't worry about it. Accuracy, meter, it's okay. Passing, slowdown off because that's what it's online. Obviously, if you'd want it, whatever. But for offline play, off so you can do it right away and online. Freeform, reticle, distance, max. Okay, now this is the biggest talk in the entire community. I'm on near, okay? I tried long, far, and no max distance. Near is by far the best way of doing this, in my opinion. Why is that, okay? And I'll talk about my speed in a second. Okay, let's go. What do I run? Let's just run, I'll just run like a bunch play here, okay? I'll run a bunch of them. But anyways, let's just call a man coverage, for example. So, when I'm throwing in this game, do you understand how much pressure there is to get the ball out? And like, you got to make the right read and you just got to throw. You just got to execute it, okay? So with far and with unlimited distance, what happens is you also need to basically time it perfectly and accurately put it perfectly and only adjust it so far, or else you're going to miss the pass. And what I want to do in this game, because it's already hard enough to make reads and throw the ball to the right spot, what I want to do is make it as simple as possible. So with near, you're not really going to miss the receiver. Now, I say that you can miss the receiver, to be fair, but let's just say you're not going to miss the receiver with the L2 button. There are pressure and accuracy and all that stuff too. And do you see how I'm kind of getting it to like almost his max distance? Now, it could be maybe, a few inches further that he could have reached out for on near. I think I possession caught that stuff, but you can rack that too and go. So that's why I use near, because all I have to do is slam it to one location and it's there. Now another one right here. Let me block a guy right here. Another thing with near is, so watch Evans and what he can do. So what you can do with near, you can do something like that, and you can like low throw it a little bit easier. Now with long, you got to make sure to or far, whatever, far no max distance, you got to make sure to stop and not lead it too far, because you can really zoom it away and then it's an incompletion. Whereas with near, you just slam it to one edge and you get the completion, okay? Because you still get like the low throw animation completion. I got the box out with Mike Evans. He caught it, went down. That's really good for, say, comebacks, and especially that is really good against man coverage here. Let's just try it on Evans, see if I can slam it down. Okay, so you see how that? I slammed it down all the way. It's pretty good. Outside curls not as much. That's more I'm thinking like hit. Let's do like a hitch or something. So let's try and clear out that. Let's do like a gauge on a hitch. This is really nice for catching it, boxing it out, and falling to the ground for like a 2-yard game. So anyways, what I'm trying to say is it's simpler, okay? And because it's so simple, that's what you need to do, because you get the extra space using near, but you don't have the downside of overthrowing and missing pass just based off, your perfect timing on the throw. So also, the reason why I have it on 20 is because I just want to slam it and go. Max speed it, right? I don't like that. There's some people that are talking about like if freeform slows down your throw motion. I don't know, I haven't tested it, but I don't need it any lower, because if I'm near, I can't miss my throws, except for you saw that one where I pointed it weirdly on the crosser. There is, like I said, that option, but if you know how to lead passes, it's not that big of a deal. So I just want to slam it and go with near. All right, clearly the best thing to do, but obviously visibility, meter visibility, both on visible. So for some gameplay clips, watch this corner on the left side of the field to circle, because the benefit of far is that you can lead passes further on like streaks and corners and stuff, getting over man coverage. Now that's the downside of near, that you can't do it as well. That's why when you are in near and you need to get it over somebody's head like this, you just want to high point it. You see how it says high throw? You just hit L1 for those throws, okay? So you don't really have the downsides. Now, here is near in action. Once again, do you see how it's in the reticle, but then with near, I completely slam it to the edge, and then CD Lamb, or Randy Moss goes and grabs it. If I don't use L2 If I just regularly throw this ball, this is intercepted by Ramsey. He gets a click on warp interception. This, like, do you see where see how Ramsey has basically the entire blue circle controlled? And so I guess I could have pass led it upwards, but then you got, you know, problems maybe with this guy right here getting to it. So that's why I slammed down into the right. Is that like JFK's head or whatever? But right here also, this one's a high throw, because I saw his user comment. I actually could have done either a high throw or a pass lead for this one. That was a high throw. That could have been either one. Right here, here's another L2. This is the CeeDee Lamb one. And because, like, right here, I'm so nervous about this guy reacting potentially. So, you know, I've put PTSD from previous Maddens. So right here, I throw it to the edge, and he doesn't have a chance. Not even close to CeeDee on that one. On this pass right here, another good use of L2 and the near is to throw it behind a guy on a seam streak, so that way you don't lead him directly into the safety for a big hit stick, knockout, or fumble. Obviously, also got hit stick, but more of like the knockout incompletion. I was able to gather myself. Right here, this is what I'm talking about. Like, I got separation in man coverage. I could have I was really far, so this is not big of a deal, but what I'm saying, the downside of near is that you can't get as big of a separation. You can't really throw it. This next one's the big one, right? See how, like, if I throw a near pass lead up, left or right, it's an interception right here at the end zone. So in these throws, high point, L1, and you get those touchdowns, okay? With coaching adjustments, what do you want to do here? On all of these, leave them all unbalanced on offense, all right? Ball carrier, end of game, conservative. That's all you want to do. Otherwise, blocking conservative, you know, means you're going to have worse blocking. Aggressive means you're going to get holding calls. Intermediate pass catching, I don't use this because I'm not the computer. I will just manually call my pass catching. Now, maybe there's something glitchy about this that we haven't found yet. Maybe it does increase pass catching, but generally it just says it's the AI, right? AI receivers will attempt a possession catch. AI receivers, okay? So, I don't know. That's the issue. Deep pass catching, conservative, aggressive catch, no, just choose your own. So don't worry about the offensive coaching adjustments. Auto flip defensive play call, I leave it on. If you have a very specific blitz or a setup, maybe at $1 or a balanced formation, you can turn it off. But I like nickel, keeping it on to keep my nickel to the strength of the defense, again, unless I have a specific blitz that I want to run. Auto line in default. Some people like it on base, and there are some sets and some formations you want to leave this on base, right? If somebody can read you like a book, like, say they're in the perfect scheme to counter and take care of what you're trying to do is like the Pats Y-off trips, or U-trips, what it usually is called. Base align that. Make people make post-snap reads is what base alignment is for. Now, base alignment, sadly, say like in a cover 3, those people like throw out routes and stuff. Even cover 2, you might not be able to do it. There are things you can do on offense to take care of base alignment. And at that point, if they are taking advantage of your base alignment, you will have to adjust on that stuff. But overall, that's what base alignment is for. I leave it on default like I talked about. Man alignment, the reason I would use man alignment if I'm calling man coverage frequently, but then I want to confuse my opponent, I call zone, but with auto alignment man on. Now, not a lot of other people will do that because it kind of funks with the zones quite a bit, and the AI gets wonky and like flip side and stuff. What people will do if they want the man alignment but play zone is they'll just call like a man play, you know, press cover 2 man, and then manually change the zones themselves on the field because it's more consistent, less AI wonkiness than auto alignment calling a zone play. So it really depends on how quickly you are adjusting out there, and that's why you'd auto align man and base and default. Play ball and air defense, leave it on balance. I wish I could say anything. We've tested it over the years. I haven't really seen anything too crazy out of swap ball, play receiver. Play ball probably is the worst one. I know. Now, Mutlix came out with something last year and said these things did change a little bit of the, you know, percentage chance behind the scenes. I went last year and tried it. I saw absolutely nothing and no differences, but you can go ahead and try it yourself. I would not recommend playing play ball because you will get egged quite a bit more, even according to Mutlix on that one. So generally, play receiver is swap ball if you want to be more conservative versus going for interceptions. Leave it on balance, though, for now. Cornerback matchups, I don't mess with this. I think this is more of like a regs thing. In Mutt, you guys it's more equalized, and this does cause a little bit of AI issues, especially like if you go against a guy motioning and you're in man coverage by speed, it really gets kind of funky at times, really messes with the AI. So I don't love this in case like if I'm playing somebody who just comes out in a set and just snaps the ball, sure, match up by however you want. But if I'm playing somebody who uses a lot of motion in the scheme, which, you know, there are a lot of top end Madden players that will do that, I just kind of leave it on balance so that way the AI doesn't have a problem. Option defense, always conservative unless you're facing Tom Brady. Sometimes I'll just leave it on balance, don't care, but always conservative. I always use that there. Strip ball, leave it on balance. Strip's pretty good this year. I'm trying to do that. Tackling, I'll put this on aggressive only at the end of the games, but there's so many tackle breaks this year, you're going to get your tackle broken hard on aggressive. Conservative, if like it's at the end of the game, you just don't want them to, like, you know, break tackles and score a touchdown. Otherwise, balanced. I've seen a few fumbles this year, but definitely don't put strip ball on aggressive. You will get a lot of face masks. Tackling, you'll just have tackle broke. So it really depends on how you feel about your defense. But yeah, strip ball aggressive is asking for 15 yarders. Now, the zone drops are a huge deal, okay? And they go into the whole philosophy of defense. I will use zone drops against somebody running, say, a flood concept, but I still want to use it in the middle of the field. Say I don't want to go user a corner route. So what I'll do is, say, put my curl flats on 5s, flats on 20. The only issue with this defense this year is the fact that they don't play the sidelines that well, and it's very frustrating, okay? So what I'll do when I have that, right? So 5-20. Now, either I can call like a cover 3 or something, right? Call cover 3, and then I'll put, like, you say, turn that yellow into a flat, or I can call cover 4 and turn the outside guy into a flat. So here's something I sometimes will pull out, depending on how they're doing. If they're doing crossers, this is a great way of fighting it. Say they're in like a 2x2, something with balance, and they could go crossers either side. I'll need to like double up and figure it out. What's a good? Let me find a good flood concept here. Any spider 2? Why bananas for the offense? Let's do. I'm not seeing a whole lot. Spider 2. Okay, right here. Flood. Perfect. It's called flood concept. So what I'll do is end up maybe calling like a see how there's 2. So like this purple route right here, which is the curl flat, will play at 5 yards. I can put it on 0, but I kind of like 5s. And then this guy will be at 20 yards. And this deep half is here. You can also throw it into like a deep third if you want, or like I talked about, calling third. Actually, this guy doesn't go to a deep third. All you can do is a deep half on this play right here. This play, you have to call a different play to get that. So, anyways, that's kind of what we're looking at right here for the game. But basically, it's a stop flood pad. A lot of people love floods against zone, so that's the only reason why I'd use a zone drop. Otherwise, zone drops this year aren't that good. I should have let that play out. My bad. But basically, then you'll adjust. Basically, you put your flats onto whatever routes. Like, remember what their favorite routes are and what distance they go to after the completion, and then just throw one at that distance. And then you have a guy sitting there next time they throw it, okay? Otherwise, hooks, 10s, and nearer to the goal line 5, I like for hooks. Otherwise, I'll leave these things default because I feel like on zone drops this year, they don't play as smart. So I just leave it default unless I'm getting burned by flood concepts and stuff like that, where I do need to double flat. That's all right. Zone coverage. This is what I love. I love zone coverage default in match this year. Now, match is incredible when people aren't running man beaters. The issue is the meta right now is beating man, so people have route running skills on the receivers, and they'll almost always have a man beating route on the field. So match is essentially zone, but man. So why I love doing this is I like calling something like, say, a cover 4, and you can only call cover 4 match the stuff like cover 4 quarters, cover 4, where's the palms? The palms not in this set. Palms will not be in that set. But anyways, cover 4 palms is another one. Yeah, I guess this play would have a lot of palms. But anyways, cover 4 quarters. This cover 3 match. This cover 2 match, etc. I usually call cover 4 quarters. So match is great because it just basically does what it says. It matches all the receivers. So watch it play out here. And you see how it's kind of looking like a cover 4, but then they'll end up going with players, and he may have had to read the guy to the right side was wide open. So match has its problems still, don't get me wrong, but it is good to throw people off because then you come into here and you go with just base drop coverage. Okay, you go with base drop. Same cover 4, same look, same call, and we'll do same play on offense, still flood. I like to shade underneath the cover 4 to cover the hard flats, and so many people covering deep. I like to drag down my cover 4 safeties and then try and use it over the middle of the field and then see what I can get. So I watch over the middle over here. So this guy ran a hook right there. I missed the tackle, but that time it didn't match. So the guys didn't go find receivers and fan out and do that kind of thing. So that's kind of like the difference between the settings and the coach adjustments. You really basically have to think of what your opponent's going to run next and adjust. And I think just like random adjustments out there and just trying to like take away easy reads for your opponent, always trying to take away the first read. If you can get a guy off their first read, not many players are going to beat you. I'll say that right now. If you can stop the run, get a guy off the first read, you are going to win a lot of games, over 80% of your games in this, as long as your offense isn't throwing interceptions every time. All right, let's go to regular settings, accessibility. This is probably one of the most important ones you turn off. Go to dynamic camera effects and turn it off. Dynamic camera effects is that shaky screen. Turn that off. Turn that off, turn that off, turn it off. It's terrible. Obviously, you can do everything you want. I turned all of these things down as I play without sound. I think like all these things down minimum, except for maybe on the field. On the field, you'll actually hear like audibles and stuff, and you can actually get a competitive advantage having on the field all the way up. Game options, kind of went through some of these. Playbook, offense, defense, whatever you want to, like everybody's got favorite different ones. Even team off. Skill level, I use all pro competitive because that's what MUT is on. That's what online gaming is on. There is a game mode to play online, all Madden, but you could choose that what you want, whatever you want. Play clock on, accelerated 20 clock, that's great. If you're chewing solos, you probably want to turn this down as much as possible. Not sure if that affects it this year, but accelerated clock, yeah, just take all the way down to 10 for the heck of it. Coin toss, I also like the kick first, just like Bill Belichick. Second choice with wind. We talked about the skill-based passing, gameplay helpers. I leave that auto flip on. Defensive ball hawk on. Heat seeker, I like it on, but I think online it might be off. It keeps turning off here. It might be off for online because there's no reason why it'd reset otherwise unless, you know, Madden was broke, which could happen. Defensive switcher sits off. Coach mode off. Fatigue, player speed, those are only really for franchise stuff like that. So that's the settings. That's the video. Let's make sure we're not missing anything. Penalties, player skill. If you want player skill, CPU skill for your franchise, definitely take a look at like Operation Sports forums. They do a lot of sliders and stuff. Visual feedback, volume control, game controls. Those all things aren't there what it is. But that's kind of it. Visual feed, yeah, that's fine. Previous play on field trainer off, on for franchise only. And player names on, camera toggle on, passing cam on. Yeah, a lot of these are just basically like preferences for a lot of it. So that's the video. Hopefully it helped.